Sophie Cunningham just got fined again, and it's not for a hard foul or a missed practice. It's for a sentence, one line on her podcast claiming Paige Bueckers got every whistle in the August 12th game. That single sentence now sits at the center of a much bigger fight, because Indiana is trying to lock a playoff spot while the league is telling one of its loudest players to keep it down. And that tension, free speech versus league order, just got real. Here's the situation. On August 20th, the league handed Cunningham another fine, the third in a month. She says it's because on her podcast, she pointed straight at the Dallas-Indiana finish and said the rookie star got every call. That was the one-point game, 81-80, that stung in the Fever locker room. A rivalry week stage, national TV, and a season hinging on inches. But this is where the story flips. The box score from that night shows Bueckers took 4 free throws. 4. Not 12, not 16, 4. And she made all of them. So how did every whistle become the line that cost Sophie money and lit up the timeline? It's about perception, not just math. It's about what fans feel they're seeing when a star drives, gets touched, and the whistle echoes the arena 3 plays in a row, whether or not it adds up at the line. Cunningham's not new to this fight. A few weeks back, she got hit with a $500 fine over a TikTok that shaded officials. Then she told her audience the league hit her again, $1,500, for ref talk in her pod's debut. Now comes the August 20th ticket tied to the Bueckers comment. 3 fines, 3 receipts, same target. Public criticism of officiating, and still, she hasn't backed off. Indiana fans don't need a lecture on stakes. Since midseason, the Fever have lived inside 3 possessions, climbing into a playoff lane with grit and late-game defense. They're 19-16 in the standings right now, and the margin for error is razor thin. Every call matters. Every possession matters. That's why a 1-point loss and a star rookie on the other side became a fire alarm inside a locker room that's grinding for seeding. Let's walk through the game that set this off. Dallas jumped Indiana early, got a cushion, and survived a furious Fever run. Maddie Siegrist led scoring. Indiana stormed back on defense and threes. In the middle of it, Paige controlled tempo with drives and kickouts. She finished with 16 points and 8 assists. It wasn't some 40-burger with endless trips to the stripe. It was poise, timing, and 1 or 2 whistles at the perfect moment that felt like a gut punch to Indiana. Every whistle doesn't have to be literally every whistle to feel heavy. 2 non-shooting fouls in the bonus become automatic free throws for someone else. A blocking call on a help defender changes a coach's substitution pattern in the third quarter. A 50-50 charge that becomes a block means your best defender plays the last 2 minutes with 5 fouls instead of 4. That's the kind of thing a veteran like Sophie notices and then says out loud. She gave that sentiment a name, and the league sent an invoice. Why does the league react so fast to this? Because public shots at officiating can snowball into chaos. The W has lived through years where players, coaches, and fans said the quiet part out loud after every close game. If the league lets the snowball grow, every call gets litigated on social, not on film. The brand suffers. That's the league's logic. They want the conversation to go through internal channels, film reviews, and quiet memos. Not a hot mic on a chart-topping podcast. But here's the other side. Fans aren't dumb. They know when a whistle feels tilted. They know when a rookie star brings a halo into the paint. And the WNBA's best growth engine right now is unfiltered player storytelling. The minute you fine a player for a sentence, you risk proving their point. You risk making the fine the headline, not the game. That's why this fight is bigger than one night in Indianapolis. Cunningham framed it as truth. She didn't call Paige a cheat. She didn't say the refs were corrupt. She said the whistle felt one-sided. That's an observation the league calls out of bounds in public. There's a world where the same sentence, uttered behind closed doors, is welcomed and logged. On camera, it's deemed detrimental. And that raises a fair question. Is the punishment about accuracy or about the platform? Let's deal in receipts. 4 free throws for Bueckers is a number we can't argue. She still had a strong game. Indiana still lost by 1. Kelsey Mitchell had a look to win it and didn't convert. That's the cold box score reality. But when you watch tape, you see sequences where Paige draws, contact on drives, and the rhythm of the game bends. The scoreboard doesn't mark gravity, but players feel it. Veterans especially feel it when the star on the other side is the league's newest face. You also can't ignore Indiana's context. The Fever have been chewing glass all month. Injuries hit hard, rotation guards went down. By mid-August, a season-ending knee injury took Sophie off the floor, which makes her voice even louder off it. That human element matters. When you can't impact the possession anymore, Your platform becomes your outlet. That doesn't excuse the league's policy, but it explains the tone, the sarcasm, the decision to lean in and accept the fine as a cost of telling the story her way. Here's the twist, and it lands right in the middle of this video. The biggest receipt undermining Sophie's exact wording, those 4 free throws, is the same receipt that creates more heat around the claim. Because if the free throw count wasn't wild, then what was she really pointing at? The answer is the hidden stat: advantage whistles. Those are calls that don't show up as your free throws. Illegal screens called one way. Hand checks that free a shooter on the other team. The no call that becomes a 2-on-1 the other direction. These are the marginal edges a veteran reads and a rookie star benefits from because of burst, reputation, and rhythm. Now, free speech. This is not First Amendment law in a courtroom. This is a private league with conduct rules and a CBA that treats public ref criticism as a finable offense. Players know that. Sophie knows that. The debate isn't, can the league fine her? They can. The debate is, should the league keep fining her when the product thrives on candid voices? The WNBA wants stars talking, just not about officiating. The line is clear. The optics are messy. So what happens next for Indiana? The Fever are clinging to a playoff slot with a pack on their heels. They've banked enough wins to control their destiny. But the cushion is thin. They'll face physical defenses, odd whistle nights, and pressure possessions where every call swings leverage. The questions we'll watch for: do officials call the first quarter tight to set tone? Do the Fever adjust instead of vent? Can the coaching staff pull players back from techs and keep the free throw margin neutral early? And what happens next for Sophie? She's out for the year, but her pod is ascendant. She has a built-in audience, a reputation for calling it straight, and yes, a ledger of fines that now acts as marketing for the next episode. The league can keep writing tickets, but tickets also write headlines. If the goal is to steady the conversation, you need a better plan than a cash register ding. There's also the Paige angle. She didn't ask for this storm. She played her game, made reads, absorbed contact, and won a road nail biter. She's been brilliant all year, and rookies don't control whistles. They live in them. If anything, being the focal point of this debate raises the bar for how she carries it. Own the spotlight, expect the scrutiny, keep the pace. There's nothing cheap about her handle or her vision. And let's be real about fan perception. The league finally has real-time national heat. Ratings, attendance, social chatter, all up. With that heat comes tribal energy. If you wear Fever colors, you think you get a raw whistle. If you ride with Dallas, you think the league owes your rookie a fair shake after weeks of contact she didn't get in previous games. The truth lives somewhere between film and emotion. The only way to keep everyone honest is to show the clips, show the counts, and keep the narrative grounded in dates and numbers. One more thing on policy. If the W truly wants to deter public ref talk, raise the fines to a level that actually deters. 500, 1,500. Those are symbolic numbers in a league where image is the currency. Small fines are like speed bumps. Players slow down, wave to the camera, and drive right over them. The league may need a smarter mechanism, private grading transparency, faster last 2-minute reports, or a joint player officials forum, so the venting has a real outlet and the audience has real data. So what's the verdict today? The league can fine her. The league did fine her. But Sophie's claim, stripped down, speaks to a real tension in a one-possession league. The August 12th box score says 4 free throws for Paige. The human eye says the whistle's weight felt heavier than that. Both can be true, and the playoffs will only amplify that feeling. Here's our watch list for the next week. First, whistle tone in the opening 5 minutes of Fever games. If Indiana gets handsy and the refs crack down early, we'll see whether the coaches pivot to more zone, more length, and less reach. Second, free throw differential at halftime. If the disparity hits double digits, expect the cameras to find the bench and the league office to monitor post-game comments. Third, Paige's paint touches. If she's carving up drop coverage and getting downhill, help early, don't swipe late. That avoids cheap calls that fuel narratives. Final take. The title says fined, and that's the headline that moves. But this story isn't really about money. It's about tone control in a league exploding in popularity. It's about a veteran guard who decided the cost of saying the quiet part out loud is worth paying. It's about a rookie who didn't ask to be a lightning rod but plays with a poise that will keep attracting contact and whistles and heat. And it's about the rest of us, who want the games decided by talent and timing, not by a sentence recorded into a mic. So, we'll keep rolling tape, logging dates, and pulling receipts. If the whistle is balanced, we'll say that. If it's tilted, we'll say that too. And if the league keeps choosing fines over transparency, that'll be our next headline. Because when the margins are 1 point in August, truth isn't a luxury. It's the only thing that travels to the playoffs.